going on, guys? Welcome back to the Comeback Journey. Here with me today is Tiffany.
Hi.
We went to the same high school, hung out with the same people for a while, but now she's started her own business and getting a whole bunch of new stuff going on.
Yeah.
Want to know about it, so then introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself.
So thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. I'm Tiffany. Yeah, like Nick said, we went to the same high school. Kind of hung out with the same people for a little while. I have always been very into art. I always knew that I was going to end up somewhere within the art field. And it wasn't until about like 8th grade or like early high school that I knew it was going to be makeup in the beauty industry, but something I'm super passionate about and see myself doing something within that realm for the rest of my life to some extent. So yeah,
It's
I'm
awesome
super excited
that you
to
figured
be
that
here.
out so young.
I feel really grateful for that. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't figure things out like that till really late in life, and I feel really grateful that I was able to figure it out so early on.
I feel like I don't even know really what I want to do.
So many people don't, but I think that's okay though. I think there's this idea that that's like not okay, but I feel like it's just more time to explore, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, having the whole world figured out when you turn 18 is not
I think it's
real.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think even the fact that we have to like decide what we want to do for the rest of our life and like go get a degree, and there's so much pressure on that in itself. We're children at 18. I don't think we're really meant to know, you know?
No.
Yeah.
No, like, we can't drink alcohol.
No, we can't do a lot of
major
things.
life decisions
but
like that.
pick the rest of your life before
Yeah.
your frontal lobes developed. So yeah, I don't necessarily agree with all that, but yeah, I don't know. It's how things are. So
Yeah. Okay, so did you grow up in San Diego?
I did. I was born and raised in San Diego, in Del Cerro, kind of right over by Windmill Farms. So super close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I lived different places in San Diego my whole life, but I grew up there until I was about 11, and then we were right over by Patrick Henry on Navajo, and then Alley Gardens. So like literally all
In
within
this
the
area?
same,
Yeah.
all within the same little realm. I spent a little bit of time. My parents moved up north, like Poway, Scripps Ranch area. So I spent some years up there, but honestly didn't love it because it was just so far away from like everything I knew and everyone I knew. But yeah, born and raised. I feel like everyone says that's so rare now.
I know.
And I'm like, I don't really feel like that, but I guess it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was born and raised out here too, and like,
Yeah.
there's people like, especially bartending, like, I'll talk to people and they're like, "You're born and raised in San
Yeah,
Diego?"
they
I'm
act like
"Yeah,
we're
bro."
unicorns or something. And I'm like, I didn't know it was that like uncommon, but yeah.
I feel like
I feel like
everyone
we're
that I
lucky.
know is
Yeah,
born and
I
raised
know,
in San
right?
Diego, or
Yeah.
most people that
It's
I
hard
know.
to leave though. I think if you're born and raised here, it's
I
really
know.
hard to leave.
That's the
'cause you
scary
realize
part
it's
though,
the best.
because I feel like I want to leave. Like, I lived in Illinois for like 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Like end of 2015, beginning of 2016, because my dad lives out there.
Okay.
And it was not for me. Like, I moved out there in the middle of winter to
Yeah.
the Midwest with
Oh,
like a
no.
couple hoodies and a pair of jeans, and I was like, this was a
You're
bad
like,
idea.
I'm a San Diego boy. This is
Yeah.
not my no.
But I came back, so that's the only time I've ever lived anywhere other than
Oh wow. Okay.
like a 10-mile radius from
And same.
here,
I lived
you
in
know?
Flagstaff for a year when I
Mm.
went to school there, but it was in the snow, and I was like, why am I here? Like, why? I don't want to leave my dorm. Like, it's too cold all the time. I mean, it's beautiful, but I feel like there's a big difference between like going on vacation in the snow and
Yeah.
like living in the snow. Like,
Yeah.
there's two totally different worlds. So.
I'd be down, like, well, that's why it's cool here, because the snow is like
It's so close.
an hour away,
Mhm.
you know?
We're close to everything. Honestly.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like, I feel like if I don't leave soon, I'm
Mhm.
never gonna leave.
Yeah.
And I don't want to
I
be
feel
here my
that.
whole life, you
That's
know?
fair.
Like, I want to venture
It's
out.
nice to have San Diego to come back to.
Yeah,
that's
like, I would like to
always
end up
gonna be
here,
there. Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like at least have like a little vacation spot out
Yeah,
here where I can,
absolutely.
you know?
One
but-
of those houses on Sunset Cliffs.
Yeah.
Oh, dream. Yeah. No, exactly.
That's my
Definitely.
summer home, you know?
Yeah. Just, casually.
Yeah. Casually 5 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
Drop it.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have siblings?
I do. So I have a twin brother, and that's it. I feel like my mom was like, got a girl and a boy, one and done. We're super close. He is like my best friend, my better half, and I think we went through like a little phase in maybe like middle school or like elementary school where like girls and boys are supposed to hate each other, and we weren't really close at all, and then like all of a sudden we were best friends, and we're still best friends to this day. He
That's
actually
awesome.
just moved back from LA, and he's in Bankers Hill, so I get to see him a lot more now. So I'm super excited about that.
And he's got a brand, right, that he started?
Does Tap Into the Frequency for everyone who's listening. Tafari World. Tafari is his artist name that he's gone under for a while, and he creates amazing art, and he's created a whole line of shoes that's going to be his first release, and they're really cool. Yeah, I should definitely check him out. He has much more to come. I admire him so much, but yeah, I'm really excited. They're actually planning to launch at the end of April, so.
The shoes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
so super
I've been
excited.
waiting for a while.
Yeah,
you
have. I know. Yeah, a lot of people are like, when are they coming? I'm like, be patient. Yeah, no. They put him and his best friend, one of our best friends, who goes under the name Kamali as well. They have been working on this whole project together, and they put so much hard work into it. I'm super, super proud of them and super excited to see like everything that comes out of that, because it's gonna be crazy.
That's really cool that like you and your brother both are like entrepreneur world,
yeah.
you know, and like doing your own thing and like being successful at it.
It's super interesting. I don't know if my parents would have ever thought it was going to end up like that. Like we were very artistic from a young age, but we both went like the 4-year degree route, and then we're like, this is not us,
Not
you know? And he went a lot longer than I did, but yeah, it's crazy how like things happen, and we both ended up doing something totally different, but it's like kind of the same in what we're doing.
Like artsy,
you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
So you opened like your own spot to do makeup, and
it's been a little over a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a little over a year, and I opened a space in PB. I was working at a medical spa up in Carmel Valley, and I was doing makeup there, but I was also doing like managing the front desk, and it was a lot. I was definitely there longer than I should have been. It wasn't like the most, it was a very toxic work environment, to say the least, but paid the bills, you know, and I loved my coworkers, and there were aspects of the job that I loved, but I always saw myself doing something like more for like just me, and like kind of having my own reputation and my own brand, like rather than working for someone else. And so I finally just like bit the bullet, and I was like, I'm quitting. And I had like a month or two in between where I was kind of just taking my clients at home, and I was babysitting, and then I decided to just kind of take that leap of faith and rent the space in PB, and it's all kind of happened from there. It was really scary, but it was definitely the best decision I've ever made.
That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I'm really happy.
Is that how? So it's just like a room?
So it's funny. It's on Garnett, but it's actually a house that a woman has rented and turned into a spa. Okay. So it's like commercially zoned. So there's 4 rooms there, and so microblading, for those of you who are listening who are like, what is that? It's essentially tattooing for your eyebrows, but obviously like health codes and things come in like super strict when you have an area where you're doing that, and you actually can't do anything else in the same room that you're doing that in, because you're essentially tattooing. So they don't want you cross-contaminating or anything like that. So I found this space, and she already had a microblading room within her space, and so I was able to rent my room. She totally let me redecorate and paint it. I was like, I really want to move in, but like I'd love to like just totally revive it. And so she let me do that. That was really cool. So it's me and her, and then there was another lady who actually had one of the other rooms in there who had a boutique in La Jolla, and she moved her whole boutique into that space.
Oh, cool.
So it was cool. It's like, it was a bunch of us, but we all kind of like came and went as we pleased with our clients. We all had a key. So it was nice because it was a small sense of community, but it wasn't so much to the point where we felt like we were like battling for clients that came in, or like it was any competition to the other person. So yeah, it's a very different environment, but I honestly love it because you can still have your own thing within it, but it's not so commercial feeling. Like when you walk in there, it's not like this big salon with like rooms that all look exactly the same, and it's very like homey, if that makes sense. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm sure that makes the clients feel a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely. I like have clients tell me that all the time, and it's honestly one of the reasons that like I picked that spot, because I want it to feel like you're going into like a good energy and good vibe, and like something more homey rather than just like I'm going into the one of these 10 places in San Diego that look exactly the same, you know.
Plain white walls, smells like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. I love that smell, though, not gonna lie. I love the smell of nail salons. That's probably bad, but yeah, I know. It's crazy because it was actually the first place I went to look at. I got so lucky. Like I went to, and I was so nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, Garnett, there's not going to be any parking. Like, but it's right when Garnett and Grand split.
Okay.
And so it's right there. And because it's more residential, there's always parking. And so I was like sold when I saw that. I was like, I'm not going to get somewhere in PB where people can't park because then no one's going to come to me.
Right.
But yeah, no, it worked out. I feel really blessed that it worked out the way it did. And
That's
I love
awesome.
love my she's not technically the landlord, but she's my landlord. So she rents the space and I rent from her. But she's amazing, yeah. And
so she doesn't own the property.
Right. So she rents out the whole space and then basically we sublease from her.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's amazing. I really she's from Brazil and she's just so sweet. She always has like all her Brazilian friends in there and
does she wax people?
yeah, she does. And it's called Bella Brazil, which is really funny. So like, yeah, she does lots of Brazilians, no pun intended. But yeah. She's great. I love her.
When did you get into microblading?
Got into microblading about a little over 2 years ago. And I have always loved brows. Brows have always been like one of my favorite features on the face to work on because they're so small, but I feel like they can make or break like a whole face or a whole look, you know? And so when I found out that there was something you could do that was doing that for people, but like in a semi-permanent way, I was like, I feel like that could be really rewarding. I mean, I know like how good I feel when my brows are on point, and so I was like,
same.
Yeah, like we all do. Like, so I just really wanted to be able to give that to like other people, and you know, it's like so amazing because you can save time getting ready in the morning. It only lasts about 1 to 3 years, so it's not like how tattoos used to be, where you would get your brows tattooed, and like I'm sure you've seen older women that you can tell they've been tattooed on there for like decades, pretty much. Yeah, so it was much safer techniques and like different pigments that came out. And Kim Zen, she is in San Diego. I trained with her under Deluxe Brows, but she actually has her whole own training facility now. The Brow Artist PMU on Instagram, check her work out. She's amazing, and I literally chose the best of the best when I was choosing who I wanted to train with, because it's such an in-depth, serious thing. And yeah, she's amazing. She's an amazing artist, amazing mentor. She still mentors me to this day. So
it seems like you got real lucky with like
I really
your
did.
mentor. You found the spot, like you found what you wanted to do super early. Like
I feel like the
alignment.
universe like really helped me out with like the key things. Yeah, I feel super grateful for that, honestly. And it's all a journey, like, you know, it's one of those things where like you're still learning every day. Like you don't just learn and then everything's perfect. Like there's a lot, like dealing with clients is a lot, you know, dealing with people in general is just it's a lot. It can be draining. Yeah. But I feel like all that matters is like what you're doing is like worth that. Like if you love what you're doing and it's worth, I always said like I want to do a job that I don't feel like I'm working, and I feel like I've found that within this.
Yeah, and I mean, in regards to anything really, like there's going to be things that like you really enjoy doing, like for like your career, passion, or whatever, and there's going to be the parts of it that like you'll like put up with because
there's always that.
You know, like I don't particularly enjoy like going through and trying to like if there's a mistake on the podcast and like, or like if the video fucks up and I have to like go back and like fix it like on the technical side, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing the podcast, you know, so like
it's worth it. I feel like there's always going to be speed bumps, and it's just kind of like about how we handle them, you know? Yeah.
Riding over the bumps.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you used to party a lot, right?
I did. Maybe a little too much at times. Yeah, I was definitely friends with the wrong people for a few years. I was in a relationship that was pretty toxic, and I feel like, yeah, partying was like my priority and it shouldn't have been. And yeah, I don't know. It was a really long couple years. I lost a lot of relationships close to me. I lost a job in the meantime. I lost a lot for it to take me to realize like I had to get out of it, and you know, like realize that like it doesn't have to be like that all the time. And yeah, it pretty much took hitting rock bottom to like to totally do a 180, but I feel like that kind of has to happen sometimes, you know.
I feel like it's like necessary to get the wake up call.
Yeah, and you were too, weren't you? You were a big partier for a while as well.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah. So you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you like, or what made you decide to like get out of that?
I think it was honestly at the point where I didn't really have anyone left besides the person that I was dating, and I realized that I had kind of like pushed away everyone around me. Like, I was living with my dad at the time because my mom was like, you just can't live here anymore. I can't, like, and I'm sure that was super hard for her, like, to do the whole tough love thing, but it's like what a parent's got to do at some point, I guess, And I feel like, I guess just like getting to the point where I really realized that like I was losing so much and like I was okay with it and that wasn't okay. I would say the biggest turning point for me though was like after I got out of that relationship, I actually went and lived in Australia for 3 months with some family friends that I'd only met one time. But they kept saying like, come stay with us, come stay with us. And I was like, okay, like, are you actually serious? Because I will come stay with you guys. And they were so generous and kind. Shout out Natalie and Breno. They're the best. They are such kind, warm individuals, and they just like took me in with loving arms. And I was there for about 3 months. The husband's mom owns a bridal boutique in Australia, and so I worked there on the weekends and really just spent the whole time like by myself, which I think also on a side note is very important. If you've never traveled by yourself, go do it like tomorrow or whenever we can travel again when all this like quarantine and COVID's done. But I think there's a lot of aspects to yourself that you discover and learn when traveling by yourself because you only have yourself to rely on to like take you places, to like know what you want to do for the day. Like I feel like it just is part of us growing up, like totally. And that trip I came back a different person from that trip, and I feel like when I got back I had the drive and the passion to be like, okay, like now I want to go like back like into this industry, fully do it. That was when I decided to get my license, and so I came back and I started school to get my esthetician license and did that for about a year, and then I was working at the med spa the whole time too. But that trip was honestly it for me. That like changed everything.
Australia's on my bucket list.
Yeah, you gotta go. It's something else. I honestly was trying to stay. Like, so I was on a I was on a visitor's visa, and I was trying to get a student visa, and there was a makeup school there that I really wanted to go to. But it was the only one. I'd done a ton of research, and it was kind of the only one that I like saw myself really going to and like fully like loved, and it didn't work out with my visa situation, so I came back. But everything happens for a reason, because then I wouldn't have got my license and like all that kind of stuff. But I definitely am planning to go back as soon as we can travel again. Which I'm counting down the days.
I know, everyone's on lockdown.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But yeah, so what would you think the turning point was for you? I don't know if I'm supposed to be asking you questions, but like I'm curious now. Yeah.
A lot of things. So I went to rehab in 2015 and I was in there for 45 days. I got out the day before my birthday. Wow. And so like the next day on my birthday, I went out with my girlfriend at the time, like to the bar and got some beers. And I was like, as long as I'm not racking lines in the bathroom, I'm good, And like inside of a week later, I was doing blow again and like started smoking weed and and then shortly after that my mom kicked me out of here. She was like I woke up.
So you know how that goes too.
Yeah, the tough love thing. Like when you said that, I was like,
Yep.
Like I woke up, I was like driving her car to go out and like look for jobs the day before she kicked me out. And like I ended up going over to like my Coke dealer's house and like stayed there until like 5 o'clock in the morning and like drove home, and I was like smoking cigarettes in her car, and like she hates cigarettes.
Oh, no.
So, and I know that, but I was like doing it anyways.
Yep.
And I came back at like 5 in the morning, and I woke up at 7:30 to her in my room throwing all of my stuff outside.
Oh my goodness.
And was like, get out of my house, don't come near me, don't talk to me, get out. And I was like, fuck. And I didn't have anywhere to go. And so like my dad was living out here. He like goes back and forth between San Diego and Illinois. And so like he was out here at the time, and I hadn't talked to him in months.
Wow.
Like almost a year I hadn't talked to him.
That's a long time. Yeah.
And I called him and I was like, I don't have anywhere to go, you know?
What did he say?
He was like, so he was staying on a friend's couch.
Oh my goodness.
And so he was like, well, come here, we'll figure it out. He was at work. So I walked from here to like 70th and Elkhorn Boulevard.
Wow.
And then like ended up staying
That's
on.
a far walk. I just drove that and I'm like picturing it in my head.
Yeah, I like 2 hours of sleep, like still kind of drunk with like a duffel bag and a backpack. And I stayed on the other couch in the living room.
Oh my goodness.
For like a few months, and then my dad was like, I'm going back to Illinois, you want to come? And I was like, sure, why not?
So that was when you went to live out there.
So I went out there to like escape my problems, you know, and they followed me.
We all like to run, right?
Yeah.
And they just keep coming back.
Yeah, so I was like, I was working at Starbucks in the morning, and I was like bartending and serving at night, but I like found a dealer and like started like right back into my old habits.
Especially working that many hours, I feel like a lot of people in the industry are like doing that anyways. Like when you work at a bar and you work crazy hours, like it's not easy because it's happening around you too.
Yeah, well, but then I got fired from Starbucks.
Okay. Been there. Not Starbucks, but yeah, I feel you.
And from like the little dive bar I was working at, so then I just had the serving job, and then that was like almost the 6-month mark when I was out there, and I called my mom and I was like, please let me come home. Like, you can give me random drug tests, like whatever, you know? And so I came home like 3 days later.
Was she like, okay?
She was like, okay.
Oh, that's good.
And then I was back here for like a month, and I was working at Tavern in PD. And
oh my goodness.
One of my old roommates was the executive chef over there, so he got me a job like as a line cook in the kitchen.
Nice.
And like a month after I got back, I got a DUI.
Oh, you did tell me this story.
Driving under the influence of a controlled substance. I had like 5 different things in my system, and like it was all bad. And then I like just continued on that path, and like the following January of 2017, I got a possession charge, and then like a couple months later I got my tax return and like spent it all in like 3 days.
Wow.
And like came back here. I left for like 5 days. I just like left the house. I wanted to know where I was. I just like left.
Was she like calling you, or
she like called me a few times, but I just like ignored her,
you
know? And I used my tax return, and I bought like a bunch of ecstasy, a bunch of coke, and like a bunch of alcohol and cigarettes and weed and all that. And I was staying at my friend's house for a few days, and then I took an Uber back here at like 5 o'clock in the morning, like days later, and realized I was sitting outside of the house, rolling on ecstasy, like super hard, like beers in my hoodie pocket. And I realized that when I left, like multiple days before, I left my house keys in my bedroom.
Oh shit.
So I like came in through the back gate and like pried the screen off of my bedroom window, and luckily my window was unlocked, and I crawled in through my bedroom window and like stayed in my room, like and my mom works at home, so like I filled up like multiple water bottles and like brought them into my room so I wouldn't have to like get out. And I just sat in there, and then I texted my mom like later that day, and I was like, I think I need to go back to rehab.
That was it for you. I know, but it's nice when you can like pinpoint it to a certain moment. Like I do feel like that's a good thing, because it like, I don't know, I feel like you can like almost track your progress from that moment. You know what I mean?
Well, after I texted my mom, we like agreed on a day for me to go, and I postponed it for like 2 more weeks so that I could like continue. I was like, I'm not ready.
I feel like it's hard to be ready when you're like so deep into that state, you know? It's your everyday life, and you're like, I mean, as humans, we don't like being put outside of our comfort zone, and I feel like when you're so deep in that is your comfort zone, and so to be like taken out of that, not to mention everything you have to deal with, like not doing any of that stuff anymore, like physically and mentally, like it's not a fun time, but I feel like, you know, obviously it's worth it, but it's definitely not a fun time in the moment.
I don't know, like I remember like when I was like in high school, like I'm never going to jail and I'm never going to rehab, and like now I've been to both.
I feel like
I'm
like a lot of people say that though.
I know.
And like it's just, I don't know, I'm also one of those people that believes like I'm never one of those people that's gonna sit back and be like, oh, I wish like none of that would have ever happened to me, or like I shouldn't have done this or shouldn't have done that. Like I feel like we are all meant to be like on the path that we're on, and I feel like there's also so much learning that can be done in that process. And it's kind of like how we were saying, like people that figure out young what they want to do. Like for me, I was like, imagine if I would have started going through all of this in like my 30s, you know, like I almost felt like happy that like I got all of that done with when I was so young, because I learned so much, and I was like, I know that none of that will like ever happen to me again.
Yeah.
You know, so there's always a bright side, but
yeah. I mean, I don't like, there's obviously like some things that I like kind of regret doing, you know, no, but like definitely. Overall, like I'm glad that it like got me to where I'm at right now. So totally. Like if I change anything, I might not be here. So like
absolutely. Yeah.
It is what it is.
We've all got a path and kind of just meant to like ride the wave, you know.
Yeah. That's the thing is like I feel like a lot of people struggle with like what path am I on, or like what am I doing, you know? And like recently I started like meditating and journaling and like trying to
trying to like five for that. That's honestly awesome.
But I'm trying to like get myself in alignment with like what I need to do, you know, and it's like like I struggle with it a lot, and I'm
I
like,
don't think it's meant to be easy.
No,
you know?
Well that's the thing is like I'm like very much instant gratification.
Yeah, me too. That's why it's tricky.
So like not being able to control like my own path, I'm like okay, like what I do, like what I normally do is not working, so like let me like try something else. And like it's, I don't know, it's really cool. Like I feel like the meditation aspect, it's like taken me a while to like get in the groove of it, and like not just like sit there for like 5 minutes and be like, fuck, I can't do it. You
absolutely.
know, I'm over it.
It's definitely like it's training yourself and your mental. Like it's definitely like a process to even be able to get to the point where you're like, wow, like I feel like I really got something out of that. Yeah. Instead of just like trying to focus on like what they're saying and like how you're breathing, like it's really, I mean, that's why they call it a practice, you know, and it just keeps getting better. So that's like the good part of it.
I think what helped me was I started doing like floating in a sensory deprivation tank.
I want to do that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you got to give me the info, because I've been wanting to do that for a really long time.
The company is called Float, F-L-O-T.
Okay.
And there's one in North Park and one in Little Italy.
Perfect.
And maybe like wait until
all
this craziness is over. I like put my membership on hold.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a membership thing?
You can do it.
That's cool.
Like for 1 hour, one time is $40.
Okay, that's not bad.
But for $50 a month, you can do 2 1 hour floats.
That's cool.
So that's
awesome.
But it really helps me to like.
How was it the first time you did it? Like,
the first time I did it, I was real like fidgety, and it took me a while to like relax, you know,
because it's dark too, right?
It's like pitch black, no sound. The water is like the same temperature as your body, and and it's filled with Epsom salt, so you just float.
That reminds me of like Stranger Things, like, you know, when she's like
yeah
that's what I feel like it would feel like.
But it's like the water's like, I don't know, this deep maybe, and you just lay back and
so it's
float.
not really that deep.
No, it's not.
I don't know, I was picturing like some super deep. Okay.
No, it's like you open it, like this door, and you step in, and it goes up like, I don't know, halfway up your calf. And then you just like ease yourself into the water and lay back, and you float because of all the salt, and like put your hands on the wall to like stabilize yourself till the water stops moving, and then you just
Did it feel longer than an hour? Or did it feel
yeah.
I'm curious, like
I think I've done it 6 times, and it's like half and half. Like 3 of them I like was really like in the zone and like comfortable, and the other 3 I was like not like I couldn't get comfortable, you know. So it's
so interesting.
But the ones where I couldn't get comfortable, like, and you have no idea how long you've been in there. You know, so like I'm like, fuck, how long have I been in here? Like what? How long?
That's probably what my lash clients feel like, because their eyes are closed the whole time and they have no sense of time. I always think that time is very interesting when you have no sense to look at it or like anything.
So when the hour's up, they like whoever's working there is like on the other side of the wall, and they'll like knock on the wall. That's how you know your time is up. So, but when I can like fully get into it, it's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I think that really like boosted my meditation.
I could see that like correlation for sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Because that's all you're doing in there. It's just like you're just laying in there with your thoughts. And,
well, and like all you really have, it's like almost it's a form of like mindfulness too. Like it's a mindfulness practice because you can't really focus on anything besides like what you're like feeling or like touching, or like obviously you're not really seeing anything because it's dark, so it's even more, you know. But that's really cool.
Yeah, you should try it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's on my, actually, it's funny, I drove past one of the places yesterday and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to do that. I was like, probably can't do that for a while. But like when everything's up and running again.
I mean, I don't even know if they're open, but
how much salt would you need in that to float?
I don't know. Like I've watched some of their videos on their Instagram, and like it doesn't show how much, but like it shows like their whole system and like how they filter it and clean it and everything. And I first heard about it on Joe Rogan's podcast because
love Joe Rogan.
This company, the Float company, has the exact same setup that Joe Rogan uses.
Oh, and so
like it's like super legit, like top quality, and like that's why I was like, okay, like he said it on his podcast. I was like,
I would too.
Joe's the man. I'm gonna take his word for it, you know. So yeah, it's really cool.
Nice. I'll have to try that out.
Do you journal or meditate or anything? I
do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm actually really bad at doing it. I have to like put it in my calendar so that I like can force myself to do it. I feel like it's one of those things that's like working out where like you don't want to do it, but then after you do it, it's like amazing. But it's like getting yourself to the point of doing it. Yeah. So like I really try to as much as I can. I've actually kind of gone a little bit deeper into it now that we have so much free time. Like also, and on another side note, I'm honestly so happy during this like quarantine. I know that there's a lot of bad going on right now, but I've never like had time to do the things that I'm doing, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way right now. And we all kind of just needed to like slow down, and now I have time to do stuff like makeup looks that I always say I'm gonna do and never have the time, or like journaling and meditation. Like I find myself doing it a lot more, and I feel like we're the people that are leaning into those things are gonna kind of come out of this a lot more like healed than before.
I've been like not the best at journaling. Like I feel like I have like a mental block. And like so I'll write like half a page and then I'm like, oh fuck, okay. But as long as I'm like okay, you know, like like it's you just gotta ride the wave.
Totally. So. And like I don't think like I feel like I get what you're saying because I'm kind of the same, but I feel like I try not to be so hard on myself because like if I wrote like 2 sentences, I wrote 2 sentences. Like no one's like gonna be like, oh, you didn't write enough. Like you know what I mean? Like there's no rules to like what you're putting down on paper. Like if it's not there, it's just not there. Like, you know, I feel like there's always like these stereotypes around all this stuff where you see people that are like sitting and journaling like pages, and it's like that may not happen every time. You know, it's not realistic, but I still think it's healthy to just like get out whatever's in there, whatever that may be.
But that's the thing is like how you were saying, like it'll show people like writing pages and pages, like that might be 1 out of 100.
Yeah, like
that's
if
the one everyone sees,
great.
and like everyone's like, fuck, I gotta do it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it's not real.
I feel like we get caught up in a lot of like right or wrong ways to do things just because of like social media and stereotypes, but there's really not like
I feel like it's just like intuition, like do
what feels right.
Like whatever you're feeling right then, do it, and like you'll be
absolutely alright. I've been trying to do a lot more art. It's been honestly great.
What kind of art?
I really like pen. I've just started working with like pen again with just different like size black pens. Okay. And then I really like watercolor. I actually just signed up for like a watercolor course online because it popped up and it was like $9, and I was like, well, I have the time right now to do it. So yeah, it's actually it's this artist who does like all like flowers and stuff like that, and she's turned it into a whole business. And
oh, that's cool.
I was like, yeah, I don't really know. I like watercolor, but I don't really know anything about it, so. That's why I asked you about that piece, because I feel like that is watercolor. But it
looks like it's watercolor. But, I don't really know anything about art. But.
Yeah, it's okay.
My brother, he uses like the black pens of the different sizes, and like he's an amazing artist. Like that's what he's been drawing for like his whole life, you know. And like I just like see him, like that's what I got him as a gift. I ordered him, like he was like, I really want this pen, like this specific pen, you know. So But it's cool to like he'll like post his pictures on Instagram, and I'm like, it baffles me because
That's so
I don't
amazing.
like, that's not where my artistic talent lies
Yeah.
in like drawing or
Yeah.
painting or anything, you know, like
Yeah.
I have like all these ceramic pieces up top. I made all those.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was watching ceramic videos yesterday thinking like, how do people do that?
Yeah,
Like,
I took it in high school,
that's
and
so
like
cool.
my senior year when I was taking it, like people would pay me to do their assignments
Oh
for
my
them.
goodness, that's awesome.
But
yeah, that's the cool part about art, is that like we all have different like realms where we fall, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's all like so beautiful, but we're not all meant to do the same things, you know?
Right.
Did you make those too?
no,
Oh,
I
like, those are
didn't.
huge.
Yeah.
Like,
The one in the front is glass, actually.
oh, that's cool.
But no, I
But
did
yeah.
not. The other one, I don't know where it came from.
You took ceramics at Henry?
Mm-hmm.
That was like the one class that I wish I would have taken that I didn't take.
It's a
I
lot
took
of fun.
photography instead, but
See,
just because I love Mr. Hunt, and like it was really easy to come late.
I
first period.
like wish I would have taken photography. Like, I mean, I love that I took ceramics.
Yeah.
Because I love doing it, but like photography like really interests me.
Yeah.
And like yesterday when I went out on this like little mini photo shoot, I was like using my iPhone, and I was
oh my
like,
gosh, yeah.
I was like, no, like I'm getting a camera. Like
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
like play around with it and like start taking pictures. And, like my friend that I was with, he was like, dude, you're really good at this. Like,
Yeah. Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
I feel like I'm really good at taking photographs, but like
Yeah.
not good at being photographed. But
That's how I feel too.
I-
Actually,
You
I
know?
feel like a lot of us probably feel.
I
Like
know
that,
everyone's
but
like, I never look good at
yeah.
pictures, but it's something that I want to like get into. And cameras are like they're like less expensive than a phone, so like
I know, it's kind of crazy actually how that's kind of flipped over the years.
Yeah.
But you should do it. Like, now's the time, honestly.
I know, like I'm not doing anything
Yeah,
else.
you
So,
have
like,
the free time. I feel like the universe is literally giving all of us this free time for things exactly like that.
yeah.
That, like, how long have you probably said that for? That you've wanted to like, or you've been interested in it? But...
I've taken my little brother has like a pretty nice camera, and I've
Mhm.
taken that out like a couple times over the years, and like gone down to
Yeah.
like Seaport Village or like Balboa Park
Yeah.
and like taken pictures,
Mhm.
but like never like I'd be like, oh, this is really cool, and then I'd like get distracted by life and
Totally.
like not do it. You
We
know?
all
So,
do.
like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and like I can use it for like it'd be cool to have like a nicer camera to film this.
Yeah,
other than,
absolutely.
You know, so like it's a win-win.
Yeah. I mean, iPhone's great quality, but yeah,
This is
if
true.
we're gonna get one anyways, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be really cool.
Maybe like set up multiple angles.
And I feel like even more so, like how we were talking about how people like, if you like don't know your path, like I feel like this is a time for you to explore things like that you've maybe like always had an interest in, because you never know, like once you dive into it, that could be your career for the rest of your life. Like you end up finding out that you love it, and it's
Yeah.
like all you want to do, or you're really good at it, or all of the above, you know?
Yeah, so that's like the last like few months I had like some significant like mental shifts. Like I worked at Costco for a few years, and
Oh
then
yeah.
like I was like the last like 6 months I was miserable every single day that I went to work, and I was like I stayed because like health insurance and paid vacation and all
Yeah.
that, and then it finally got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I quit. I don't really have a backup plan, but I'll figure it out.
That was exactly me leaving my job too.
Yeah. And so
yeah.
I went back. I was like working at a restaurant at the same time as Costco, and I quit that restaurant. Then when I quit Costco, I went back to that restaurant,
Okay.
and then they offered me a management position, which is like what I wanted at the
Right.
time. And then I got it, and then I was like, do I really want this job?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and my girlfriend was like, I was in a similar situation a couple years ago. I took a job as a manager at a restaurant, but then I
Mhm.
realized I just took the job because I wanted the title of manager,
Right.
not because I actually wanted the job.
That
And I
makes
was
sense.
like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think I did the same thing. I like
Yeah.
I sat on that for like a
Right.
week, and I was like thinking it over, and I was like, is that what I did? Like, because that
Did
like,
you feel like it was?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I went out, and like I was like, what do I want to do? Like, what interests me? And like I listened to like a bunch of like real estate podcasts and like investment stuff. So I was like, okay, I know I want to like get into real estate in the next like couple years. And so I went out and started applying for like property management jobs to
Okay,
like kind of
cool.
get my foot in the industry.
Yeah.
And there's like people that I work with at the restaurant
Mhm.
that like have, well, one of them mainly is like the GM's husband listens
Mhm.
to all these episodes, so like he's probably gonna listen to this and be like,
Okay.
this motherfucker. But like I was like looking for jobs to quit the restaurant job
Yeah.
before, and now it's like temporarily closed.
Oh, so did you end up quitting, or
No,
you were
I
still
was
there
like
and then it
still
like
there
happened
and
to
it
close?
closed.
Weird
Yeah,
how things happen.
I know, but I was like applying for property management jobs, and then like all the places I applied to, they were like, we're waiting until after this,
Oh, okay,
you know,
yeah.
dies down. So I was like,
Sure.
okay, what can I do in the meantime? And I fucking signed up for a course to get my real estate license, and it's like a online course. Like they sent me like
Nice.
the books
Yeah, my
and
mom's
stuff,
been
you
a
know.
realtor for 20 years. So
Okay.
if you ever need to talk to someone about the business, hit it up.
But yeah, it's like why wait? You know,
Yeah,
like it's something.
totally.
Like I feel like I've always taken jobs that I'm like comfortable with, and that like I know I can like make like good money quickly, but like not like I'm on like autopilot when I'm at work.
Yeah, there's not like a passion driving the whole
Right.
force.
I'm just there for the money.
Right.
You know, so.
And props to you also for like anyone who works in the service industry. The closest I ever got was Jamba Juice, and I would never go back. So props to anyone that works in the restaurant or like that industry. It's a whole nother world. And I don't know how you guys do it.
I mean the tips.
Yeah, that's what everyone says, but
I mean there's like I worked at like I was a bartender at the restaurant I was working at, and it's like it has like a full bar, but it's more of a restaurant than a bar. You know? Like, people don't go in there and like take shots and like they like occasionally, but I mean there were days that I would make like upwards of $300 in like a 5-hour shift.
Oh yeah.
And like
so definitely worth the money,
but
I don't know if
at
my
the same
mental
time,
could handle
well,
it.
that's the other thing is like I'm working like at a bar. I was like at the end I was like managing half the time and bartending half the time. We had a meeting with the owner, and he was like, we need to get more people in here to drink more because like that's how we make more money.
Right.
And I'm like, makes total sense, right? But like that does not align with my life at all. Like I'm actively trying to not drink. So like and I was
did you have that conversation with him?
No, because like very shortly after that the restaurant closed down.
Okay,
so I was like it worked out.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
So but I think I'm gonna get into the photography thing.
Yeah, you definitely should.
That would be really cool.
Definitely should. I mean, especially like it's not only like now is a time for us to like try things because we have like a little bit of extra time. We have the time to like actually play around with it and like learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have like a good chunk of time to actually like totally try new things and like a whole like range of things within that subject and like actually learn from it and grow from it rather than being like, okay, I'm gonna go take pictures this like one day that I have out of the month.
Yeah, I have
and
like
then you
1 hour
put down
of
the
one
camera
day.
and yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's really cool. You should do it.
I will.
There's a lot of places in San Diego.
I know.
They're all empty right now.
I know. I went to Balboa Park yesterday. They had it roped off. Like, you
Yeah.
can't even. I was like gonna sneak in, but there was like a cop on the bridge.
Yeah, there's cops everywhere. My brother and I took his dog there like 2 days ago and we got kicked out. And I thought like obviously like if you have a dog, I thought like maybe it's different. Like you can be like walking your dog, but nope.
Nope. They're not having it.
Which is probably good because no one was listening to the whole stay home thing. But
yeah, I know. There was like cops kicking kids out of the. There was like a couple kids playing basketball and they got kicked out.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is what it is. Like,
it's working for me. I get to like never get ready, which I like. Today is the most ready I've gotten in a long time. And it was actually really nice, but also that's kind of like a fun thing too. It's like you can get ready because you want to get ready and like feel good.
Not
you
because
don't
you have to.
Not because you have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's been fun for sure.
I think that's all I got.
Okay.
You got anything else you want to talk about? Shout out your Instagram so people can check you out.
So I actually recently, a couple months ago, changed my business name and like Instagram was Glamour by Tiffany, and it's Glamour by Taj now. Taj is my middle name. My dad's Persian, and so it's kind of like funneling into what I want to do with my whole business later on in life. But I think I kind of want to hone in on just makeup, and for a long time I really thought about like just opening up like a huge business that was like a space for makeup artists and stuff like that, people to come get their makeup done, but I kind of just want to do something a little bit deeper than that. Like that felt a little surface level to me, and I kind of want to lean in towards, you know, really doing something that can impact and make a change over the years. And so my name is Glamour by Taj on Instagram. I don't have a YouTube, hopefully soon to come. Since I have the time now, I should really just do it. But yeah, follow me, Glamour by Taj, and look out for that name later on. I'm going to use that as Taj means crown, so hey. I believe we're all queens, and you know, I really want to connect people around the world and different cultures through the artistry of makeup and just being the queens we are. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Cool, yeah, this was
so
awesome.
Fun. I know. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, guys. Until next time.